We want to say shout out to our sponsors, Watchman Cigars, 1812 Barbecue, Webmerized Website Design, Blue Collar Motorcycle Shop, and Hook, Line, and Heroes. Without you, this episode would not be possible. Hello, everybody. Welcome to a brand new episode of the Southern Fried Philosophy Podcast, where it's our take on life, liberty, and the pursuit of gravy, and you, the listener, are getting a degree in common sense. We are broadcasting from beautiful Concord, North Carolina. We got a great show lined up for you, as always. But before we begin, let me introduce you to the team. Of course, I'd be your host, Biggin, and how about you? To my left, your right on the radio dial is producer Brian.
Hey, guys.
And, of course, across the way sits the pride of Anderson, South Carolina. But most of you probably know him best as the Silver Tongue one, 2016's honorable mention Time Magazine Person of the Year, the inventor of the supposed redneck egg roll. Give it up on old Mike number one. It's Mojo!
You know what you call a shaky javelin thrower?
I do not know.
Shakespeare. Hey, guys, welcome to the Southern Fried Philosophy Podcast. You can find us on our website at southernfriedphilosophy.com. You have playable links there.
Sorry.
You just now got that, producer Brian.
It's not sinking in. Sorry. Carry on.
You can find playable links there, and, you can do those at work, and we are work-friendly for the most part. You can also find us at our Facebook page at Southern Fried Philosophy. Anywhere you listen to a podcast, just go there, hit Southern Fried Philosophy, hit like, subscribe, give us a review. We really appreciate those reviews and the subscribers. You get uploads every week on Monday for new fresh content from the previous week. You can also find us on the Twitters and Instagram at SFP Radio. I think I've been banned from Twitter finally, so I can't get on there myself.
Nailed it.
Also, just go to our Patreon link, also at patreon.com/SFP Radio.
And also, we want to give a shout-out to our friends at States Vegas Radio. I kind of forgot to do that, so thank you guys for playing us. We are on the air Monday at 6 o'clock and Friday at 4 o'clock for your drive home. So thank you, States Vegas, for playing us on the show. We also want to say shout-out to our listeners from Jackson, Jacksonville, and Jonesboro, all brought to you by the letter J. How about you? We want to do a fact check and a follow-up from last episode, and I did do some hard-hitting research and found out that Corn Pop is still a bad dude.
Corn Pop was a bad dude.
You could drop that all day long, and I couldn't get enough.
Yeah, it's ready to go. It's on demand. Corn Pop on demand right now.
I just wish Joe Biden, no malarkey, would have had a 40 in a brown paper bag while he was saying that, because that's what Sister Pete Mayor's Sister Pete did. He had an old Brown Betty koozie on his malt liquor when he was doing a Vice video.
How about you?
Yeah, so I wish that would have given him a little bit more street cred.
Yeah,
sure. We want to say shout out, or we got our upcoming guest Marty McFly next week, and Dave from BowlJet.com. I know we've talked about that a whole lot.
Yeah,
even before the show. If you do it in the Southern dialect, which I wish you would do for us, it almost sounds like you're saying a curse word.
Bullshit.
There you go.
Yeah, I think here in the South, we have a mix of dialects. I mean, North Carolina has probably 20 distinct dialects from the western side of the state where you have the Appalachian Mountains, moonshiners, to here in our area, the foothills, I guess, to the eastern side where you have,
Say it nicely.
Yeah, I mean, I love our eastern North Carolina guys. I mean, you get great barbecue, seafood, but man, some of the sections, dialects, even as a Southerner, I have to open up my Google Translate to see if I can find out what we're doing here.
Yeah. No, I understand.
Yeah, that's one of the great things about the South is you have South and you've got like deep South.
Oh, yeah. That's when they add the marbles to the mouth.
Yeah, what was the movie with Adam Sandler? The football one.
Yeah.
Oh,
No. You know, that guy.
Water Boy.
Yeah, that one. That's right.
Yeah. So, anyway, we're going to have Marty from Bulljet.com. Part of the reason why is because
Dave. From
Dave,
yeah,
sorry, Dave from Bulljet.com. Part of the reason why is Kentucky has made it to the Belk Bowl here in Charlotte. As previously noted on the show, I'm a huge Kentucky basketball fan. So part of it is so that maybe I can get some tickets to the game. I'm really excited about that game.
I do not knock your effort.
Mm-hmm.
Just like as an avid Duke fan, I would probably do the same thing.
Sure.
So I admire, and whatever we have to do to push you over that limit, I'm good with that. So
I've also reached out to the folks at the Belk Bowl to see if I can get media tickets.
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
think that's going to happen either. But oh well.
Do podcasters get into TV events like that?
No, not at all.
you know what? If we would have actually went to that Trump event or the GOP, it would have had street cred.
Actually, I did put in a request for that again this week, so we might hear back.
Hey.
That'd be fun. Part of the reason that we're going to play this next clip, I always ask you how you be doing. I'm going to tell you how I'm doing today. I am a huge fan of Kentucky Sports Radio. That's also been documented on the show. They were talking about coming to Charlotte, and they were speaking specifically looking at the Charlotte Tourism Board of what they can do in Charlotte while the KSR crew is here in Charlotte. I sent them a tweet, and so you'll actually hear that. We did get a shout-out from one of the number one talk shows all across the United States, and so I thought that was really cool. Producer Brian has got that queued up ready for us to go.
SFP Radio, which is Southern Fried Philosophy, Drew, has tweeted us, the Charlism Tourism Board doesn't have it listed, but it's also close to the home of SPF Radio Podcast. We have an open invitation to come on their show down in Charlotte.
I see the word gravy in their bio, so I don't need to know. I need nothing else.
I need to read that. Southern Perspective on Life, Liberty, and the Pursuit of Gravy.
That sounds like a great show to me.
That's where we're going.
So yeah, that was. I was really excited that we got a shout out on Kentucky Sports Radio for that.
Yeah, that's probably the radio station you listen to the most, right?
It is 100%. Yep. And I did reach out to Ryan. They're actually not going to be here in Charlotte because of logistics or whatnot. But Ryan did say that he would love to come on the show just to talk and give us his perspective on sports. And then he's also an adoptive father. He's
cool.
adopted some kids. So it would be cool to hear his story as well. So anyway, so that's how I've been doing. I was really excited to hear that. Was actually able to get on the show again today to talk about weird things. They were talking about some things that you might do. And maybe I can ask you guys, what are some just weird things that you guys do in life? So here was the example that Ryan was using, and I also do the same thing. Sometimes, see, I got this creeper mustache that's starting to peak up. My wife will not kiss me while I have creeper mustache. And so one of the weird things I do is when I realize, I've got creeper mustache and I'm in the shower, I actually go for her razor. And I just use that just to get this top part off. I know that's weird. I get it.
Because you want to like rip your skin off your lip.
Well, no.
With a jagged glass, like those things are.
Well, she's got the really silky smooth. Like,
yeah, but you use like one a day on those things, right? Like, because you're like cutting off like that's coarse hair down there. You know?
It may be, but the thing is,
you get dull fast. What I'm saying.
Her razor's got the glide on the top and the bottom, so it makes it really tough to get up here to the nose part. You can't get up there, but at least I get some sugar after I'm done with it. So she's like, "All right, I'll give you a kiss because of that."
This is how you fix it. Just buy you a cheap safety blade, single blade.
Okay,
that's what I do, and I buy the refillable single, just the old school single blade things. Those give me the best shave. I bought 100 blades from Amazon for like $6. I mean, of course, I don't shave every day because I'm still waiting for my beard to come in, and so it'll last a while.
So, well, my razor, I may spend a little extra money on razors, but I'm bald. For those of you guys that can't see me, and
I just in my head, I was like, "What are you shaving?"
I'm shaving my head. So I have nice razors. So,
okay,
but on the one side they have what's called a detail razor, so it's a single blade on the back side, so I can flip it over and get like For me, it's like around my ears or something, but
Okay.
that's what it's made for, is your creeper mustache.
Maybe.
Speaking of weird things and hair, so a friend of mine named Kevin, and hopefully he listens to this episode. So he was listening to our podcast, and he kind of was reflective on some nose hairs.
No.
So yeah, he was talking about how you never. He says he's never in a convenient position to actually remember to pluck them,
Right.
because at our age they start ear hair and nose hair just
All over the place.
yeah
Back hair.
yeah. Exactly. Hey, honey, can you
It
can you
leads
shave
from
my
here.
back
Yeah.
sweater tonight?
Oh, the back sweater.
So so he just said that, but when you're driving down the road with your wife in the car, all of a sudden you remember it. So he will. That's his kind of his nagging obsession, and I do the same
Well, she
thing.
doesn't reach over and do it for you, right? When
No,
you're driving or something.
no, my wife will do that
Yeah,
with my
just
ear hair.
whoop.
But
Ow.
yeah, but he's his wife doesn't realize he's doing it. But he'll just yank a bunch of them out
Oh,
while
yeah.
he's driving. So
Mm.
I kind of.
Why are your eyes watering?
yeah, and sneezing too.
I do that when I'm trying to stay awake. If I'm driving and it's late at night, I'll just pluck those bad boys, and
Oh, that'll do
that'll
it.
help wake you up.
Yeah, and you'll have a sneezing fit and drive off the road.
100% on that too. Yeah. So Mojo, how you be doing?
I'm good. Just the weather can't. Just like here in the South, man. Just we never know with the weather. So
Just like a teenager, can't make up her mind.
60 the other day. Now it's cold. We got freezing rain in the forecast for tomorrow.
Do we really?
Yeah.
How about you?
They're already salting
Yeah,
the roads
just
out
north
there.
of here, yeah.
Yeah, they're salting the highways earlier on the way home. So
Now,
yeah.
when you listen to this episode, it'll be 64. You know?
Oh yeah, we'll be wearing
Shorts.
our shorts on Christmas or whatever. But just other than that, we're good. Where my shop is in Salisbury, it's just always fun watching the locals. So I'm trying. I was going to do what in the Salisbury is this segment?
What in the bull jet's going on here?
Because I have some interesting feedback, but my wife doesn't want to offend the locals there.
Well, they're not listening. I can guarantee you that they're not listening to the show.
Well, we'll see. I've sent some golden material.
Do you
over
have
to the-
stickers all over the front of your shop door?
I have some, yes. But I've sent some of my material over to, there's a website or a Facebook page called the Salisbury Meme Team. So I'm hoping to see some of that stuff pop up because it is good humor. I mean, like local guy there had a pet goat for a while.
Wait,
yeah.
excuse me, a pet goat?
Pet goat.
Okay.
So one of my locals, and actually I give him some work every once in a while when he comes by, but he had a pet goat and he would walk this thing down the street. So
That sounds like a sober thing to do.
but unfortunately, the goat's now gone. The goat has now been harvested for a local restaurant. So,
Hurry.
yeah, and he was a little sad and upset about it, but
Sure.
he was watching it for a restaurant. So yeah,
He was watching it for a restaurant.
he was watching it for a friend who owned the restaurant. So there's speculation. I can't say emphatically that the goat ended up on the restaurant menu or it ended up in the restaurant owner's house as a personal consumption.
Okay.
But the pet goat is no mas.
Wow.
Yeah.
How about you? Well, that sounds fun. I think now I want a pet goat. Producer
Well,
Brian?
yeah, if we can put it on a spit and barbecue it, I guess it'd be good.
Yeah, I'll try goat.
Producer Brian, how you been doing?
I'm doing good. I was going to talk about Krispy Kreme, and then social media blessed me with something today.
Oh,
I just have to share.
come on.
Yeah, so we have a lot of media stuff going today. I got a bunch of clips lined up. So this just kind of fits in with the theme. This landed in my lap about 30 minutes ago.
Oh, boy.
So I'm just going to play this for you, and you can
Okay.
react to it and tell me if it sounds familiar.
A tunnel, and then everybody was just gonna beat me like this. I was like, yeah,
You went through a tunnel?
yeah. And then I woke up and they said, "You're dead." And I said, "Okay." A tunnel.
I hate my wife.
So give us a little backstory on this.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't really use Facebook very often. I was at dinner with my wife and daughter tonight, and she goes, "Your wife posted this thing on Facebook," and she just handed it to me. You should listen to this, and it's big and coming out off of anesthetic or anesthesia from oral surgery or something.
Out of my wisdom teeth pulled.
Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, I won't play it again, but it's. I just about fell out of the booth in the Chinese restaurant. I'm just saying. But this is the exact reason that I will not. I always do local anesthetic when I get anything done.
Oh, I could
Do
tell you
not
stories.
knock me out because of modern technology. I don't know what's going to come out of my mouth. Like what
I'm
kind
the
of
same
what's
way. I
what
have
I'm
no
going to say.
filter.
I am
Yeah.
terrified. Oh yeah, I mean, it's not even filter. I just don't, what deep dark thing in the back of my brain I'm going to start spitting out. Who knows? I don't know. I don't trust my own subconscious.
Yeah.
In that sort of state.
Just keep in mind, that's one of 4 videos that she's holding hostage.
Ooh, I can't wait for the
Yeah,
other.
so,
She's like the
stay
WikiLeaks.
tuned.
This will pay off in 4 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it is. Man, it was one of those moments where, like, I just didn't care. I know she was filming me, but I didn't care.
Yeah. But you have no inhibitions or whatever. So
Right.
I'll have to next time my wife stops in, I'll have to have her share you the story of my colonoscopy story, because they give you some heavy sedatives there, and I pretty much embarrassed her and had my dad, who at the time was just peaking on 70, or close to 70, embarrassed and laughing their tails off. So. Speaking of Krispy Kreme, I'll tell you an embarrassing story real quick. I just got to share it to purge my soul.
Come on.
So yesterday I'm at the shop, and all of a sudden a gentleman comes in with a box of donuts, which he had me at donuts, and a thank you card. And I'm like, okay, cool. Maybe it's just like one of these local reps trying to hawk insurance or something. They kind of bring a little welcome thing or whatever. Anyway, so this guy goes on and on about how they really appreciated our donation to a Christmas toy drive. Now, keep in mind, we did donate to this drive. I had no clue what we donated. I donated money to make purchases on our behalf because I don't have time. So, as I'm sure he could see the dumbfounded look wash over my face as he's thanking me for the generous gift of multiple bicycles.
Wait, what?
Yeah, I mean, motorcycle shop bicycles. Anyway, so I'm just, all I could do is say, you're welcome. That's awesome. That's great. Et cetera, et cetera. I just didn't know what to say. I mean,
You need to clarify now.
I'm. He was so excited that I didn't want to say, "Sir, I have no clue what you're talking about." And plus, he had a box of donuts.
Were you the wrong line on the spreadsheet or something?
I don't know.
You hope so.
So plus he had donuts. I wasn't going to be like, "I'm sorry," and then walk out.
You're welcome.
Walk out with his donuts.
You realize that box of donuts may cost $4 maximum, and you're about to give away $10,000 in bikes?
Yeah, but still, so after he left, I read the card and I'm like, oh man, this is just something ain't right here. So
sure.
I put 2 and 2 conversations together. I talked with another small business owner there in Salisbury, and he had made a social media post with our shop, just kind of promoting it on Instagram. And I guess the people that received the donations, that are gathering the donations, must have put 2 and 2 together that we did it. That our shop donated these plethora of bicycles. So I tried to track down, the company and stuff, and finally I tracked down the company. Actually made a mistake. I actually went to the local bicycle shop there, and I thought they donated the bicycles. They're like, no, we have no clue what you're talking about. And anyway, so I had to call the place that dropped the donuts off this morning and apologize. I said, I just want to clarify, I have no clue what we donated. I donated money. So I said, I don't want to take credit for something, that's not ours. I wanted to go right to the rightful source, because obviously they made a generous gift, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I spent this morning tracking down the place that received the donations, also the company, to apologize for stealing their credit.
Do you owe them some donuts now?
Well, right. I did mention to the person who gave out the donuts that I would be more than happy to fully reimburse them for the donuts, and also hand deliver this thank you card to them if they need me to, and scratch out my name and put theirs on it. But it was luckily it all worked out. But still, pretty embarrassing. That's one of those like secondhand embarrassment things. But I'm in the first person perspective on that. So.
I was worried at some point you were going to be. They were expecting you to donate actual motorcycles to this
to the kids, to the children's.
Yeah,
that probably would be good for their health.
Maybe.
Yeah, I could be wrong.
All right, so let's go into some wacky news brought to you by 1812 Barbecue. Hey, go check out our friends 1812 Barbecue. Eric, he is actually now getting ready to load up his inventory so that he could do some Christmas party catering. If you got a Christmas party that you're about to throw a shindig for and you need a caterer, check out our friends at 1812 Barbecue.
Also, I'm sure he does Kwanzaa and Hanukkah.
There you go.
New Year's.
Yeah, I'm sure. All right, guys. I read the headline. Thought you guys would love this one. Arizona man registers a swarm of bees as an emotional support animals.
Why not?
An Arizona man's emotional support animal is creating quite a buzz in Prescott Valley, Arizona. David Keller thinks the application process to register an emotional support animal is too easy, so he tried registering a swarm of bees as his service pet, and it worked. A lot of people thought it was hilarious, and a lot of people were getting upset. He recently went on a website and successfully uploaded a random photo of a beehive as a service animal to bring awareness to the issue that anybody could do it. He said that he went through the process and it was proved that he could take his swarm of bees. Keller was inspired to go through the registration after seeing a service dog that was visibly untrained. He said, I could easily tell that it was not a service animal because it was pulling the owner in the parking lot. And I was thinking that it's just too easy to get these animals to be service animals. He said it's very silly, that they don't mean anything. You just pay for the registry and then you can get approved for that. He says that there's no training service that had to have been done, obviously, with the bees. But not all animals can be trained. Only dogs, and get this, miniature horses may be used as service animals according to federal law.
Yeah, on planes.
Yeah.
On airplanes, yep. I did an article about that.
Miniature
months ago.
horses.
Yep.
There are other species that are giving the title, which includes squirrel, peacock, monkey, and alligator. Miniature horses remain cleared to fly as service animals. But recently, a lot of emotional support dogs are recently getting booted off of flights showing signs of distress. So the emotional support dogs are now showing signs of distress. But anyway, so he got through the whole process with a swarm of bees.
I mean, that's technically multiple animals. Was there
That
one
is
that's
true.
his favorite? They put like a little,
It was-
like a little little pill bottle or something. Takes
Frank.
with them.
Yeah, he
Frank.
calls him Frank.
Frank.
Yeah. So,
Buzz Aldrin.
Oh, that's a good one. If you had a pet bee, what would it be?
Yeah. There's a.
I think Buzz is quite strong there.
That one's pretty good.
Yeah.
And his female companion, Honey.
There you go.
Aw, that's sweet.
It's amazing that you have to register emotional support animals. If you don't have to register to have a valid ID to vote, why do you have to have a valid ID for an emotional support animal?
But they were saying in the article that recently on flights too, that the animals are now getting in fights with each other as well and causing kids to get bits, people to get even more distressed.
I mean, dogs get stressed out like
by the mailman,
by the weather.
Yeah.
You know, an airplane engine or just, you know, the altitude, the sudden elevation. I can't be comfortable for the senses. Their senses are a little, you know, more finely tuned.
I just think it's a loophole that someone, you know, people just try to get away with.
You would think you'd need some sort of like a mental health official to sign off on your animal.
You would think so. You would
just
think
say,
so.
oh, well, you know, I have to have this kitten in my lap so I don't punch you in the face.
But also, the problem is it gives the industry a bad name because you have people that are just taking advantage of it, obviously, and people who actually
how far can you stretch this?
Are beneficial to it. I mean, because we've seen videos out there with, you know, autistic patients who have had dogs to help them cope with trauma or that, you know, that's what pinches them, or PTSD patients.
Yeah.
So
it's a legitimate need for people out there.
Yeah, just because somebody wants to have their, you know, 2-pound Chihuahua with them that wears a sweater vest as an emotional support animal, they get away with it.
Yeah. It's just insane. But now, thankfully, you can enjoy a swarm of bees as you.
I think I'm going to register a Velociraptor.
Oh, that'd be good.
Or, you know, banana
Big
on
snake.
duct taped on a wall.
Did you see Popeyes taped a sandwich to a wall?
Yeah, I did see that.
Apparently someone ate the banana. We didn't actually talk about this on the show. We talked before the show last week about the banana thing, but someone like ate
as performance art.
It was performance art to eat a banana. I wonder how much you got paid to do that.
Yeah.
But
I'm just letting you know that on Facebook Marketplace, there has been a plethora of these things pop up.
Like taped to walls?
Taped to walls. guy did a potato taped to a wall. He was only asking $80,000.
Oh, that's good.
There was somebody who did grape art had a
Ooh.
grape, and I thought that was pretty cool. Their cost is relatively low,
Sure.
but they were only asking 60. So, if you're looking for any Christmas presents out there in your area, just go to Facebook Marketplace. I'm sure there's probably some artistic expression.
What if you sneeze on a wall? What can you charge that for?
I don't know.
Maybe we can do a fart on
Maybe
the
if
wall.
it looks like the Virgin Mary or something.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah. Like the toast that looks like Jesus?
Yeah.
That sells for a lot of money.
Yeah.
The 1812 barbecue story started over 20 years ago when Eric and his dad started entering local barbecue competitions for fun. During that time, Eric, a United States Marine, has traveled all over the world picking up flavors and techniques that today is the unique flavor of the award-winning 1812 barbecue. He has honed his craft to bring you fall-off-the-bone pulled pork, mouth-watering ribs, and finely crafted beef brisket. Eric has developed his own amazing dry rub and delicious barbecue sauce. And let's not forget the sides: coleslaw, smoked Gouda mac and cheese, cowboy baked beans, and to top it all off, banana pudding and pecan pie for dessert. Getting hungry yet? Good. Call or email Eric at 1812barbecue and he can make your next catered meal happen. Wedding and graduation parties, family reunions, and other events will be memorable with 1812 barbecue. Want to try your own hand at smoking meats? Pick up your own 1812 dry rub and start the journey for yourself. Shipping all over the world, connect with Eric on his Facebook page, Instagram at 1812 barbecue, or call 704-604-5148, or email Eric at eric.line@1812barbecue.com, and he'll be glad to help any way he can. Our next article is: someone is putting tiny cowboy hats on pigeons in Las Vegas as animal rescues try to remove them. Now, the title, I don't know what they're trying to remove, either the pigeons or the hats. That one threw me for a loop. Someone in Las Vegas has been putting tiny cowboy hats on the heads of Las Vegas pigeons. While you may be asking yourself why, one local onlooker has an explanation: because the rodeo's in town. Robert Lee, Robert Lee told Storyful when asked about the pigeons he recorded wearing miniature cowboy hats. "That's the only explanation I have," he said. "I saw something red on a pigeon's head and looked down and saw these awesome things. At first look, I was like, oh my gosh, that's cute. Then I was like, wait a minute, how do those hats get there?" Hillman runs the animal advocacy organization whose slogan is a pigeon positive movement. They're trying to track down who is putting these little hats on these pigeons, and they're worried how they got on there. Did they glue them? And what does it mean for the pigeons? Is it going to impede their flight or attract predators? Either way, they're kind of going viral, the pictures of these, and we'll have them on our show notes. But I'll just pass along the little picture of the pigeons wearing the hats, which, by goodness, they are very cute.
That is kind of cute. I'd actually, if I saw a flock of those like standing there, I'd be kind of worried. That'd be like looking at Wyatt Earp and Doc Holliday coming from the OK Corral.
There has to be some like adhesive involved here, right?
Yeah.
And it's probably messing with their eyesight, I would guess, because pigeons, birds can see like 180.
Yeah.
Like I can't even imagine what it looks like to be a bird. Looking through their eyes, because you can see like almost a complete circle.
Yeah.
Wow.
Maybe it's keeping the sun out of their eyes.
Yeah.
Maybe it's helpful.
Maybe this is the next step in evolution. Maybe they've actually acquired their own hats.
Maybe.
Either
get them shipped in
cowboy
from China.
hats. Next will be like gun belts, right?
I wouldn't. I wouldn't worry about predators, because I'm telling you that if I was a predatory bird or a cat, I'd think twice about a pigeon.
Oh, I'm not going to mess with a pigeon with a hat on.
Yeah.
I saw this Looney Tune cartoon before. I know how this ends. He pulls out a giant mallet and hits them on the head.
Come on. Pigeons, though, are like rats of the sky, though.
That is true.
I mean, nobody in the city goes, hey, we need to have a positive pigeon image.
How is that not the national bird? Because we've got way too many of those things.
Pigeons, yeah. So I heard on the radio, I think it was yesterday, I couldn't find the actual article, but they mentioned that some guy got arrested for having like 10 pigeons stuffed in his pants. He's walking down the road, like the cops were like, is that a pigeon in your pants? Or,
Yeah,
but like, he's like, something didn't look right. Right. He just had a bunch of pigeons in there. So I started Googling pigeons in your pants, of course.
Oh, that's not a good thing.
Yeah. Apparently, people have been using them for smuggling drugs as well overseas.
Oh, okay.
200 ecstasy pills were on a homing pigeon.
How about you?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Anyway.
All right, let's go to some hot topics brought to you by Watchman Cigars. If you want a quality cigar at a reasonable price, check out our friends at Watchman Cigars. All right, so last week we kind of railed on Joe Biden saying Corn Pop was a bad dude.
Corn Pop was a bad dude.
Well, this week Trump decides he's going to rail on every possible competition person that he's got. So go ahead and play the speech from Trump. And just heads up, there is some language.
I can probably bleep it out later if you want me to.
Okay. Well, that'd
We
be
can do
fine.
that, yeah.
But it's actually funny. So
It's
I think
funny. We leave it in, yeah.
Yeah. So if you have kids, just turn it down a little bit. Good.
Incredible, and they come right from the state of Pennsylvania. Hey, do you ever notice where Biden keeps saying he's in the wrong state? Like if he's in Ohio, it's great to be in Iowa tonight. If he's in Pennsylvania, it's wonderful to be in the state of Delaware. What is wrong with this guy? What's wrong with him? There's something wrong. Okay, there's something wrong. No, he keeps... How many times can you do that? Who turned out not to be too good a candidate, right? Beto. Remember? So he wanted to get rid of religion, the Bible. He wanted to get rid of guns, and he wanted to get rid of oil. How about going to Texas and saying no Bible, no oil? Think of this one. No Bible, no oil, no guns. Here are the facts on Shifty Schiff. This honest guy makes up my statements. He said, the president of Ukraine repeatedly declared that there was no pressure, but he didn't want to say that. We said, say it. Say it, you crooked bastard. Already said that if they fail this time, think of this. How about low IQ Maxine Waters? How about green? How about green?
Oh,
We've
Lord.
green. How about green where he said, we have to impeach him, because if we don't impeach him, we're not going to win the election. This is what we're dealing with. You know, we're dealing with some very bad people. We're dealing with people that don't respect you. And by the way, you know, they talk about the elite. You're the elite. They're not the elite. They're the elite.
I just thought that was really comical.
We've never had a politician or a president, though, that does this.
Sure.
I kind of enjoy it. Just
It's like he's preparing for his own talk show.
yeah,
He's going to be a night. It's going to be when he's done with the presidency. He's going to be on late night with Donald Trump.
it could be.
That's what it is.
But I kind of enjoy it because it's like a roast. He's there to get he's there to get his troops rallied
Sure.
up or riled up.
Yeah.
So I enjoy it just because it's humor. Because if you watch other people's speeches, it's more of a pandering type thing where they will read their audience. If it's not a diverse audience, if it's something if they're in a black church, they'll pander to that black church. If they're in a Hispanic community, they'll pander to the Hispanic. They don't do this kind of like just ad lib roasting humor. I think it's kind of funny. I know some people are taken back by it and are really offended by it. Me, I think it's kind of funny. It loosens the tie of the person in office. I think it's kind of funny.
And I agree, but coming from the leader of the free world.
This is the president.
Right.
I mean,
right.
I was actually talking to someone about this earlier today about like we've never had a president, like you said. Obama could be funny sometimes. He had some stuff. You sent me that between two ferns.
Oh yeah.
That was funny. But it's like, this is the leader of our country.
Right.
And he's on his platform, but he's just roasting. Like, I get it. I know why he's doing it. I know why it's happening, but
right.
It's this evil genius kind of thing. Because people,
Yeah.
the people that are, his supporters are loving every bit of this.
Sure. 100%. If you're in the market for a high-quality cigar for a very reasonable price, you must check out our friends at Watchman Cigars. Watchman Cigars is a family-owned business that puts the customer first with the best customer service in the business. Watchman Cigars offers the Habano for a full, spicy flavor, the Connecticut for a mild, easy-to-smoke option, and the Maduro for a strong, powerful experience. They even do specialty blends and partner with you to provide a custom, exclusive line just for you. Watchman Cigars has all your cigar needs. Follow them on Facebook and Instagram at Watchman Cigars 1991, or check out his new website at watchmancigars.com or the sponsor section of our website. Speaking of evil genius, we have AOC. She made some comments about puppies and parental leave. So go ahead and play that clip.
Employers should offer health care to every employee that they have?
I think that as part of a benefits package, they should determine what is the best way and what do the workers want.
Okay, so no, you don't believe it should be uniformly offered?
I think it should be what workers want and what employers are
Okay,
able
so
to
the
provide.
answer is no. So, and similarly, your view on parental leave is to let the market decide. Do we know how long puppies are allowed to stay with their mothers after a dog has given birth?
I don't.
8 weeks.
Wow.
So the market has decided that women and people who give birth deserve less time with their children than a dog. And I think that at its core, has shown that the market has failed to treat people with dignity and with basic respect. And so when that happens, I think it's our job as the public to redefine the rules of society and to treat people who give birth with the dignity that they deserve. Thank you very much.
Do you want to break that one down?
I really can't use the language I'd like to use. Could be a lot of beeps. So let's follow this logic. So a dog's lifespan in human years is 7 years. So if my math is correct,
you're doing the deep math. Wait a minute.
if my math was correct. So actually 8 weeks is technically a whole full year in a dog's life. So I guess we should equate that to parental leave should be a full year.
Paid. Yeah. Because dogs have jobs. They get paid, so they can, they have to go back to whatever.
Sniffing asses and eating cat turds out of the cat litter box. Yeah, that's a rough job. But so I guess we need to amp it up to a year. By the way, I don't think dogs stay with their parents for 8 weeks because I've seen dogs for adoption 6 to 7 weeks.
Yeah, who makes that? That's not a nature thing. That's when you can adopt a puppy is after 8 weeks, right?
Right.
Something
supposedly
like that.
If you're breeding them, you have 8 weeks.
Yeah, and this is the same. Our country treats animals better than people a lot of times.
100% agree.
I agree with that.
We're in that society. So,
well, I think it's ironic that AOC is actually valuing a puppy life more than she is a human life, because in her motto, she'd probably, especially with the climate change, and we don't need a population now. We don't need to breed humans because of the impending climate apocalypse. But also, she values a puppy's life probably in utero more than she does a human life in utero. So
humans are people too.
But humans are people too. That's a great T-shirt.
I like it.
But yeah, New York. What the hell are you doing? This is the person you elected to represent you guys. I mean,
I will say, coming off of 8 weeks of paternity leave, I'm a huge fan of that. I enjoyed it immensely.
Oh,
sure.
I have no problem with paternity leave.
I think it's a great thing. Yeah.
I think if employers can offer that, I think it's great.
Yeah, it shouldn't be federally mandated.
No.
It's up to the employer.
Yeah,
again, going back to the free market.
When you're getting paid, yeah.
Yep.
I just, look, my wife, and also I do take offense that she did say, and I think she did specifically say, people who give birth. Okay, well, obviously I'm a parent who, obviously I didn't give birth, but none of my kids are genetically mine. My kids, are through other means, adoption, other means. So what about us?
Yep.
What about you?
Yep.
And so she automatically used that language, which, I mean, it doesn't trigger me. I could care less because she's a nitwit, and hopefully, I could care less if a banana taped to a wall runs for her office. I'd rather see that artwork win versus her, because
anything's possible.
Yeah, she's dumb as a box of crickets. So, but yeah. So this is congratulations, New York. I mean,
you won.
It's pretty much legal to sleep in the city, and you can't, or the homeless can sleep in the city. You can defecate on the streets pretty much. They ban high-calorie sodas, over 20 ounces. They ship their homeless because they have such a rampant problem. They ship their homeless to other states like North Carolina and other various states. So, but you're worried about puppies and how you try to translate that into human life. She's the idiot.
Overall, I agree with the free market that if that's a big deal for you, go to a company that offers, 8 weeks or whatever paid parental leave or whatever, but don't force companies to do that.
Yeah.
It's not good for the company.
It's not like reasonable for like small businesses,
Right.
especially, like think if, you're a business owner, if you had 2-3 employees, could you afford to pay somebody 8 weeks to be out?
Here's the issue though. What do companies like myself do? My company will hire people, A, who probably will not produce a child, or B, they may have their kids have already been born, et cetera, et cetera. So it's going to force me to look for people in labor that don't fit that criteria.
Yeah, if that's being mandated to you, then you're going to have to be more discriminatory in your hiring practices. Like when I had what I call a real job, I was allowed to take all of my vacation at one time. That was my leave when I had both my children.
Okay.
And I'd saved I had like 2.5-3 weeks of vacation. That was what I got to use that all. I just used it all at one time. Then that was it. There was no beach trip that year. But
I just, mandated policies like this have a huge effect because not only, for example, if you did need these key employees that are potentially going to have families, which is cool. I'm all pro families, but on a dollar line, what happens is it's going to cause an employer to not have as much staff to compensate for that benefit, and therefore they're going to increase productivity requirements on the remaining employees.
Yeah, and then at what point is it more profitable to keep having kids so you get the extra?
Yeah,
you get to work. Like you have a baby every 13 months.
Yeah, but
or
also,
something.
exactly. Yeah, but exactly. What do we do for? Here's my main takeaway and issue is we have people that are trying to mandate policies who've done nothing more than pour draft beers from bars or made coffees from their former job or have been community organizers, people who actually have never done anything productive. You take several of the Democrats who are running for office, they have done nothing but sit in a position that they've been elected to and drawn a salary for the last 28 to 40 years. And they're trying to mandate how small businesses and businesses are going to operate.
Yeah. Well, even AOC, you can't mandate that, like we said, the companies are going to give 8 weeks to just females, like you were saying on that. But small business is going to be impacted. You can't just whimsically throw out, this should be a policy without thinking about the downstream impacts of how that's going to hurt the small businesses. So
I equate AOC to my 16-year-old daughter.
Oh, that's good.
Because my 16-year-old daughter has all these hopes and dreams and wants that she expects me to pay for.
Right.
But just like everyone else, you don't have an endless funnel of cash.
Right.
And how do we pay for everything that AOC wants or Warren wants or Sanders wants? I mean, you can't.
Yeah.
I mean, unless people start doing the trade and bartering system where, we can pay for things through clamshells or,
Bitcoin.
Everybody will start a wheat garden.
I can make you some shoes.
Yeah. I mean, it's just crazy. I just don't get how they're, when they try to show numbers that support their position, what economist is actually getting behind this saying, oh yeah, we can fund another $131 trillion in spending over the next course of years, even though we only take 3.1 or 1 point something trillion dollars in tax revenue a year. But hey, also we could tax the wealthy at 100% and not even fund the budget for the next 6 weeks or whatever. I mean, these are I'm making these numbers up.
It's the same economist who said that Obamacare would work. So
if you like your doctor, you can keep it.
Yeah. All right, so we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we have Becky Santoro from Foster Village as our special guest. Come on back. You're listening to the Southern Fried Philosophy Podcast. Hook, Line, and Heroes is a 501c3 nonprofit based in Charlotte, North Carolina, founded in 2017 to show God's love and appreciation for our disabled and PTS military veterans. They provide professionally guided fishing trips to nominated veterans at no cost to the veteran. Hook, Line, and Heroes has provided over 30-plus trips around the Carolinas since their founding, from red fishing down in Charleston to striper fishing on Lake Norman, and even offshore fishing down in Florida. Each trip is a one-on-one experience with a member of the organization, aiming to provide a day of fun and relaxation on the water and begin a lifelong relationship with them. Each veteran leaves the day with a fully stocked tackle box, rod and reel, apparel, a Bible, and a daily devotion to kickstart their new hobby and build their relationship with God. Please take the time to visit their website at hooklineandheroes.org to hear and learn more about them. You can help in many ways by nominating a veteran you know through their website, join their monthly giving program, Healing Heroes, or send a one-time personal or corporate donation. You'll also be happy to hear that they are completely volunteer-run, and nearly 100% of your donations goes directly towards providing trips for the veterans. Be sure to follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn to see their veteran stories and to show your support. All right, we are back, and you are listening to the Southern Fried Philosophy Podcast. On the phone with us, we have Becky Santoro from Foster Village. Foster Village is a nonprofit organization providing hope and resources for foster families. Becky, Tracy, Sloan, and Molly founded Foster Village to equip and provide resources to and advocate for foster families, kinship fostering, and bio families. These women saw a need, came together, and is now providing hope for the over 600 foster children in the Charlotte area. We're excited to have Becky on to discuss all the things that Foster Village does for those families. So, Becky, thank you for coming on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
So tell us a little bit about how did Foster Village get started and why?
Sure. So Foster Village got started. It was really a need that we had. We weren't looking to become a nonprofit initially. We were just looking to meet a personal need that we had as a foster family. So my husband and I entered the world of foster care in 2016. And really quickly after we got licensed, we got placed with our first placement. And ever since then, it's kind of been a roller coaster. And at the time, we didn't know anybody else that was fostering. And so took to the approach of, gosh, we need to find other people that are doing this life with us. We've had a lot of great support from friends and family and church, but no one understands what it looks like to go to court and then have to come home and tuck your kids in bed and do the whole thing over again. So so that's kind of how we got started. We found the other founders. I found them just through Facebook looking for other people that were fostering. And so we started meeting up with each other and just kind of sharing our journeys. And then over time, more people were finding us and more people are finding us. And we kept doing these gatherings, and it started off as 5 families, and then it would turn into 10 and then 20 and then 50. And so it was like, gosh, there's something here. There is an unmet need that our city has for a community with other families that are fostering. And then there's some big gaps in our system of people outside of foster care that wanted to help. And there wasn't really an inroad in. So we were dreaming and trying to have a sense of what our city needed and hoping that someone else would do it for us. And then a couple years in, we were like, gosh, I think it's us. I think we have to be the ones that build it. So last year we officially launched as a nonprofit, and it's been a whirlwind ever since.
Sure. Full disclosure, my wife and I have participated in some of your events. We are foster kids, or foster parents. We've got Hot Pocket and Small Batch that we like to call them affectionately on the show. And so we really appreciate all the things that you do. But somebody becomes a foster parent, they get a placement. One of the things that I love about you guys is you are on top of it. One phone call, and all of a sudden, here comes the floodgates open for support and encouragement. So tell people about these welcome packs that people will get if they, get a placement.
Yeah, so the first kind of call when you first say yes to a child, it just becomes a whirlwind. You're processing a difficult story. You're trying to logistically figure out when and where you're going to be receiving this child. And many times kids come into care so quickly that they don't have time to get their belongings, or the belongings that they have might not be appropriate for the season or might not be useful in that moment. And so we really felt like that's an easy way for the community to come around side foster families and say, we see you, thank you for saying yes to our community, but also ease the stress of those first couple of days. So the welcome packs, people can fill out a form on our website, or the social worker can fill it out on their behalf. And it's everything that you would need to get through the first couple of days with your kiddos. And that way you're fully present with them. You're not running to the store trying to think if they have underwear for tonight or pajamas. You're able to just let them come in, get them settled, and know that the village is going to be there on your doorstep. So we have a lot of volunteers that are trained and well stocked up with the process of how we do things. And we have an app, and we say, 5-year-old girl in Huntersville, at this location, can you drop the welcome pack? And I mean, everyone springs into action. So when we first started, we thought, well, we'll be there, 24 hours. That feels like it could be manageable. And now we're on doorsteps within 6 to 12 hours most times.
Wow.
So it's a huge, it's a huge way to just meet a quick need. And then we just say the welcome pack is the start of a new relationship. We're just there to meet that need and not to, have a long-winded conversation with you. We'll do that another day when you're settled, but let's get that kiddo what they need. So everything in the pack is new that people have either donated to us or that we are able to purchase through individual donations. And that way we're kind of dignifying the start of foster care for a child. They have something that is uniquely theirs, that's their size, that's all new, that no one else has worn before. And we feel like that's a really dignifying approach to entering a hard situation.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, you have no idea what these kids are going through when you get a placement. So it's, to have something new, something that's theirs is great. And then on the flip side of that, I'll never forget the moment where I'm just at work and everything's going great at work, and I'm just going through on a call, and then all of a sudden my wife texts me and says, "Hey, by the way, we're having a kid and he's going to be here in 3 hours." And you're like, "Wait, what just happened?" Your whole life is about to flip upside down, and you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know, like you said, do they have underwear? What's going to what's going to be the story? And so trying to process that all within just a few hours is almost not traumatic, but it's just a lot of pressure. And then, but just to know that there's somebody that can have your back and show up and help you out, within, like you say, 6 to 12 hours is massive.
Yeah, I mean, it's what I wish I had when we first got first placement, who it ended up becoming our forever daughter. But we, at that first call, it was like, "Can you be here now?" And I'm running through Target like just a crazy person. And I had a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old girl, biological children at home. And our little one was 1 year old. And everything went blank. I had no idea what a 1-year-old girl needed. I had no idea, if she took a bottle, what size diaper, none of those things. And I was just, I was a little bit traumatized, just trying to figure out how this all was going to work. And even though you go through the classes, what you think and you think you're ready for it, nothing prepares you for that call and that initial start, for sure. Yeah,
unless you've been through it, you have no idea what it's like. So yeah, no, I completely understand. That's a cool touch point. Once somebody has got the foster kid and you guys have settled down for a little bit, what other things do you guys provide for those foster families, bio families, and kinship fostering?
Yeah. So we always say the welcome pack is a lifeline back to a village of support, because we feel like the most impactful thing we could do for a child is to make sure that the family in their care is healthy and whole. And anytime you have any career choice where you're helping other people, whether you're a teacher or a social worker or a police officer or firefighter, you're on the front lines so much to the needs and cares of other people. And oftentimes the foster parents are kind of the ones that are probably most neglected in that way. Can be very isolated or maybe invisible, because the foster care system can be very invisible. So we always say the most important thing we can do is to build community around you with other people that get it and help you to sustain the journey. So many foster families give up after 2 years. So many foster families decide to only take in one placement and not do it again. And that's just a revolving door for our city, for our taxpayer money, for all of it. And the thing that we lose in all this is really high quality foster parents that could go to the distance if they knew they were supported. So that's a huge piece of what we do. We feel like the child welfare system is a broken system. There are a lot of things that we see that could change, and there wasn't really a unifying voice of foster parents. So we set out to find foster parents and then make sure that we wrap our arms around them. So we do a lot of trauma-informed trainings, and you have to get trainings for being a foster parent. You know that. And sometimes they can be really dull and really dry.
Yes.
We're trying to cross that off so that you can keep your license. And we just sat down and said, what do we need? Like, what do we literally need? We need self-care in a broken system. We need trauma and secondhand trauma. We need to know what to do when a baby who's born addicted can't sleep through the night. Like, these are the real practical things that we need our families to know. So we do trauma-informed trainings, and then we just launched some therapist-led support groups so that you can have a safe place to process those harder days of fostering where you are saying, gosh, I think I'm going to give up. This is too hard. And someone is there to kind of help walk you through that. But then we have a lot of fun, too. We love to gather as foster families at the park or at the farm or at the library and just help families know that there are other people doing this, and let the children know that there's they're not the only ones in a transition, in a hardship, in a home that's not theirs. There are other kids in our city that are experiencing the same thing they're experiencing. So we do parent night out and anything we can do to connect the children together. That's like, oh, okay. Yeah. For a minute here, I don't have to pretend like everything is okay. I can just remember that there's other people like me that's going through the same thing.
Why do you think the short shelf life? Why do you think the average foster parent only lasts for 2 years?
I think one of the hardest things I think about being a foster parent is the lack of voice that you have in the situation. So we're tasked with being a safe place for the child to land. We're also tasked with sharing lots of information with a variety of teammates like social workers and guardian ad litems. But then when you get to court, you're not a party to the case. So I think that's hard for families. I know it was hard for me. I felt like I could not advocate, though I knew what was going on inside of my home 24 hours a day. And I think if you don't have a good communication with your team, if there's not some mutual respect that goes both ways, it can get really hard to feel like you cannot say what you need to say or voice the things that you need to voice. So I think that's one of them. I think another one is that some kids that come into care suffer, every kid that comes into care suffers trauma, whether they are a baby or they're 18. Trauma comes in all different kinds of forms, and even just leaving your home is traumatic, even if it was unsafe and you needed to go, that's still traumatic. You're leaving your family. So I think that some families feel unequipped with the task at hand and maybe don't have as much education of what triggers that specific child or some of the behaviors that can wear on you over time. And I think those are two of the bigger reasons why families feel like they can't do it.
I can definitely relate to not feeling like you have a voice. We went to court, and I just wanted to tell both the lawyers, like, what you're saying is not even accurate. And I was like, can I say anything? And they're like, no, you can't. I told my wife then I'm going to go to the University of Phoenix and get a law degree just so I can stand in court and actually tell them what's actually going on.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. Yep. Join the line. We're all in there together. But I feel like that is one thing that is helpful, is to be able to hear someone else say, this is really hard. It's hard to not feel like you can advocate. And our role as Foster Village is trying to teach families what is in their bandwidth to advocate for, but also uniting our voice so that there's enough of us and enough storytelling and enough common threads where we can be a seat at the table for stakeholders and say, these are some things that we know need to change in our city. And we've never been united like that.
Yeah.
Well, if I go a little long here, I apologize, just because I can sense this is one reason I love having guests like you on the show, because obviously you didn't apply for this job, like people would. Like a social worker applies for that job. Yeah, they go to school, they get the training, or somewhat training, but they apply for a job. You saw a void, just like our friend Gwen with the Basic Grace. You saw a void, couldn't take it anymore, and filled the void. And you're passionate about that. I could tell it in your voice. My frustrations are with, on your behalf, but also Biggin's behalf, because I love him like a brother, that the system is so broken. You have people that are, like I said, they're doing a job. They get to clock out at the end of the day. You guys have to, you guys don't clock out. And it's just so frustrating that we put so much into the system. But I admire, our nonprofits like you that fill the void, that see the gaps that need to be filled, and lift these parents up. Hopefully people can someone can duplicate this process and pass it along to other counties and states and cities and help fill those voids too, because we would love to foster, but I know me. I know I get so frustrated that I would be down at the Human Health Services trying to burn a building down. So I just
gotta know your bandwidth.
I know my limitations. So and who knows? I may chill out in a few years and be able to process it. But I think fostering. I saw an image the other day on Facebook, and I let me see if I can find it real quick just to show Biggin, because I like seeing them cry.
Yeah, don't make me cry. Because I clearly never do that.
So I saw this image of.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I saw this image the other day on Facebook, and it's a picture of Mary holding baby Jesus, and then I saw the next picture is Jesus or Mary holding Jesus as he's pulling them off the cross, and that kind of made me think of foster parents, because something Bingham's wife said the other day is that you go into these situations preparing your heart to be broken. And that just reminded me of Mary going into that situation, preparing, with Jesus' birth, and preparing her heart, knowing that it would be ripped open. And I can understand the heart being ripped open by, people that are being placed, their kids being placed, but also going back to their biological family, because that's the whole goal of foster care.
Yeah.
But I could not imagine my heart being ripped open from a negligent state or county official that just has their heart set on ripping it open, and placing a kid back that the situation is not applicable. So anyway, that's my long diatribe. My frustrations are with the system. So.
Yes. And I think that that's part of the role of coming together as a nonprofit, but also being able to be a seat at the table, is recognizing varying perspectives, and that if I had everybody write out what they feel like the job of a foster parent is, or what they feel like is in the best interest of that child, we would have 20 different definitions and 20 different reasons and 20 different, and some of them honestly may be a game changer for me, a lifter of my eyes to say, wow, okay, I really didn't see it like that. And so I always try to come into those situations thinking there's lots of different ways for us to approach this, but how can we come together and come back to the why? And I've met a million beautiful, wonderful social workers that are in it for the right reasons, that have a heart to change the system. And I've seen guardian ad litems the same way, and I've seen judges the same way, but we all have a different take on the same situation. And so that's kind of the hard part is, well, how do I hold the truth loosely and still be able to voice and advocate well for what I believe is in the best interest of the child. So it's definitely not an easy task, but anytime we can kind of come together and sit down over the mutual purpose of being an advocate and a desire for that child to have a healthy outcome, like we have to start there, because once we put labels and once we put what we think is true out there without hearing their perspective, it's really hard for us to move forward. And it's a very humbling experience. I've been in lots of different meetings with my own kiddos' biological parents and their lawyers and all that. And it is some of the most humbling moments of my life for sure.
It's really, sorry, we're going to say,
you go ahead.
It's really easy as a foster parent, and I'm not, I'll just spit it out. It's really easy as a foster parent to demonize the bio parents for what they've put that kid through. But it's another thing to, like you say, sit down and listen to their stories and hear how they got to that spot. And it completely changes your perspective on them. Now, where they're at of, am I trying to get the kid back, or I don't care? Then, maybe that demonization comes back or whatnot. But to hear them and hear their stories, you're like, whoa, I can almost understand, not giving them an excuse, but understand why it happened the way that it did.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that is, I look at our case and our children's father, and I think we got here somehow. And 20, when he was little, I would have fought to foster him, so it's like he grew up and he's still a little child, really.
Yeah.
And a hurt one and a traumatized one, I'm sure. And when you don't have the coping skills and then you become an adult, you're still operating under this mindset of, fight or flight. And so, yeah, I mean, that is huge to be able to look in someone's eyes and say, okay, I'm humanizing this right now.
Yep. Yep. What do you see if you could change one thing about the system? Just one.
One list.
Oh gosh. That is such a hard question to answer. And every day I probably would give you a different answer because, I had my own fostering situation. Then we welcomed her brother as well. I've met other foster families. I've heard their stories. The more I'm in this work, the more darkness I see, the more common threads I see that I feel like should be changed. So it would be hard to pick one, but I think I'd go back to, like if I had to choose one thing, I think it would be, again, building in some intentional work towards the culture of the child welfare system and the people that whose roles are directly affected, who would directly affect the child's life. So we have a lot of work to do with social workers and judges and lawyers and foster parents to come together. So I think that would be one of the biggest things I would change is some more intentional practices that could maybe shift some things as a whole. But then the other thing I would change is more direct support for the actual biological parents when, the kids do go back home. I am a huge component of shared parenting, which means, you do everything you can to help the family that you're helping to care for to do some joint parenting together, and then when kids go home, there's this natural release, and sometimes it's so abrupt. Yeah. And I feel like we could do a better job empowering families that when they go home, that they're in a better state of return. And so 1, 2, 3 things happen, we're not right back to where we started. And I feel like foster parents could play a really important bridge to that. And sometimes we're not sure how to do that, or we're not asked to do that. And then the child loses his natural support system in this whole reunification. So I want success for families when they reunify. I don't want to see that kid in care again. And unfortunately, that is something that happens quite frequently.
It drives me nuts that the state, and this is all states, that basically consider foster homes a lot of times just a state-sponsored Airbnb. Mm-hmm. Because like you just said, you guys are such an intricate part in these kids' lives. And I'm going to sound cynical for a second. Imagine that. Anybody listen to the show, and we can cut this out too, because if it doesn't, if it doesn't support what you're doing, because sometimes like my over opinion comes on the show, but we take the right to drive away from people that are multiple offenders of DUIs or reckless driving or this and that. But we allow parents, and I can speak from my own personal experience with my niece, because my niece was abused, was brought to us. We cared for her for a while, and then she was given back by the state to her mother. We warned them of some future incidents, and lo and behold, like a fortune teller, it happened. And the state never monitored it. The state just basically cut her and let her go. And it breaks my heart to know that, not saying selfishly, we could have raised our niece better. We could have, but in those situations, or another foster family could have done it. Mm-hmm. And it just breaks my heart that some parents, some biological parents, maybe shouldn't be parents. I know they are, but it just breaks my heart that the state sometimes, and I'm all about reunification, because sometimes parents just need to get their stuff together. Sure. And need to go back. Yeah. And I'm all for that. But man, sometimes the state will probably take their driver's license away a lot quicker and not give it back but they'll give them a human being back. And it's just it's so frustrating to see that. And that's all I can say.
Yes, I agree. I think at the end of the day, we want success and wholeness for families, but we also want the cycle to break with the children. And I think that's where it gets a little bit murky of not, knowing when it's time to seek a forever family and say this has gone on long enough, and at what points have we truly wrapped that family with enough support and care and addiction help and whatever it is that their barrier is, to really give them a fighting chance. And so, I'm with you. It's the struggle, and both of our children are now adopted from foster care, and it did reach a point where it was not going to be a good situation for them to be reunified. And so I'm grateful that the cycle stops with them. I'm sad and heartbroken that their story has to begin with that kind of brokenness, but I'm also grateful that we get to write a new story with their generation. But it doesn't mean that I don't also feel sad for the family that can't raise those, their children. But I'm so grateful that they're ours now and we can do something different.
100%.
No, the beautiful thing about foster, and all the beautiful thing about adoption too, is that you don't have this traditional Norman Rockwell, Mayberry type of, feel good family. Families are put together and you create your own stories. I mean, from our adoption story to even our youngest daughter, we have an amazing story of how that transpired. And also the same thing with foster. I know a lot of foster parents now that have gone through the full adoption, and they have a wonderful story. Yeah, it does have some heartbreak, but it's almost like the reverse. Well, actually, it's probably the same as a Hallmark movie. You have the breakup, and then you have the Christmas Miracle, and I love it. And I love seeing these stories And man, I tell you what, if I had to watch one more of those stinking videos where the judges, I'm a heavily tattooed guy, and I'm kind of mean looking a lot of times, but I will cry to the drop, and I can see it leading up to that. I mean, like the last one was like the foster kids, or the kid invites his whole class to come to his adoption party.
Yeah.
Oh, I read the title and started crying, and still watched it. So, just a question now: have you thought about uniting with other groups as a voice for lobbying? Because I think you guys, if of course I know when you have loose entities and groups, sometimes somebody wants to be the head speaker, and you have a lot of politics in that. But man, if all the nonprofits who focus on foster care in this state or any other state got together and banded together to be one, like a one voice for lobbying in their capital, I think a lot of change could happen. I mean, it may already happen. I've never heard of it.
No, yeah, I don't even know. Like I said, we didn't set out to be a nonprofit, so none of us have nonprofit experience. I was a teacher in my prior life and then worked for my church for a bit. We've got a nurse on our team. We've got someone in banking, and so it's so funny because we've been living and learning this whole time, and so I don't even know all of the intricate details of what we would be allowed to do as a nonprofit. But I do know that we do not have in North Carolina a foster bill of rights, and some states do have that. And those are some do it well, and some maybe haven't had a great track record, but it gives some best practices of what the government should be doing in terms of common courtesy and respect for the foster parent, and also just things that the foster parents should be able to access if they needed to. And so we're in the research phase of that, but our goal in the next 3 years is to really be working on the foster care bill of rights and see if we can get that passed at a state level. And right now it's a lot of meeting people and learning who are advocates already in our city and in our state, and having great relationships with Council for Children's Rights and NC Child, and being able to voice our concerns when appropriate of the system is definitely where we're at right now. But yeah, we're coming in like a Trojan horse. We're walking in with all kumbayaing about foster parents and how we could come together, and then we're just going to blow it up and get to work creating a better, healthy system for our children and the families that are caring for them. So it's definitely in the works for sure.
We need to connect you with our friend and fellow foster to adopt parent Gwen Bartley. She runs an organization called Amazing Grace, and she's heavily involved in the Capitol. So I'm not sure if you're familiar with her or not, but we need to connect you. I think both of you guys' passion. I think Riley would probably relocate to lose. Hopefully, y'all would lose their address. So, but yeah, I would love to see that, because nothing is no one's voice is better heard with a pack of angry moms.
That's right.
I think that would be great. So maybe we can kickstart this off by just doing, maybe if you can post like a Baby Yoda meme.
Yeah, that'll get recognized
or
quickly.
Smudge the Cat meme. I think you guys would probably rock it out. You probably have a bunch of followers that we could get that rallied up.
Love it. I never turn down good ideas.
Well, don't look towards me, because I will lead you down the path of
memes,
stupid memes.
Becky, what has been one of your favorite moments being a part of Foster Village? What has been something that when we say Foster Village, great moments, it pops into your head, this is it?
Oh, man. There's so many.
How about one that was a God moment that you just knew, like, all right.
Right. I think we had a vision of this resource center that we wanted to have for families, a place that would be sacred. It would be just for them. It was designed for them. And we had no idea how it was going to play itself out because we're a year into a nonprofit. We're only funded by individual donors at this point. We're grassroots. We're all volunteers. And so finding a property that looked like a house was in our price range for rent in a good location was the biggest God moment and the biggest joy as of yet has been able to open the doors to families in a place that looks like a home. We wanted it to look like a house so that a kid could come again and again and again for different things that we do for Foster Village and feel like it was designed for them, because it is. But probably one of the coolest moments that I've had so far since being in that resource center is, number one, the aha moments of community members that didn't really understand foster care, and now I can walk them through and teach along the way has been really impactful. But the last couple of weeks, we've had foster parents reach out to us and ask if they could use the space to meet with their biological parents and do a shared parenting experience around the holidays. So we've had birthday parties there, and we've had, visitations around the holidays there. And to me, that's everything, because that kid is coming with their foster mom to all these different things. And then they're coming there with their biological parents, and they know that this place has a heart and hope for both sets of families. They don't have to choose, and so we had gingerbread making going on, and I just that to me is the biggest win we've had. I had to drop off my daughter to a office building once a week to visit her dad, and I felt like that was the most dehumanizing experience that I could have been a part of for him. It was an office building with no toys, and someone's watching you for 2 hours. And I'm not going to be my best parenting self in that environment at all. And so I just kept thinking, gosh, he already had an up-road battle. Could we not have made it a little bit easier? Like, he's never going to be inside of a home again with his daughter. And so this is a safe space for both things to occur, and by far has been the most emotional and beautiful part of building this nonprofit, for sure.
Mm. Yeah, I think we're actually coming to visit the home here in a couple of weeks with ours. So we're looking forward to that.
I'm excited to have you, for sure. You'll love it.
Yeah, I'm sure. So you mentioned kind of lobbying, getting together. Where else is Foster Village heading for the future?
One thing that we're doing in the future is really being able to make sure that we're here to stay. So we've done a little over a year of being super grassroots and volunteer oriented. And it's time for us to make sure that we're sustainable and that we can continue to do this work in 5 years and in 10 years. And so we're doing a lot of learning of what it looks like to actually be a sustainable nonprofit in our city. And we're grateful that we have a lot of supporters that are walking alongside us in that endeavor. But I'd also like to have a few different locations so that we're actively helping other counties. We serve any county. We only deliver welcome packs to 20 miles of our resource center because of our volunteers and just wanting to be sensitive to their time. But I see a huge pocket of people up north and a huge pocket of people down south and east and west and neighboring counties. And I would love to have these resource-like environments in multiple locations in the future. So step one, make sure we're really sustainable. And then step two is to branch out and make sure that we can duplicate this for other families.
That sounds incredible. Like I'm looking forward to watching you guys grow and expand, and because there's such a need. It's unreal, the need.
Unreal. And then there's a lot of great people out there that want to support it. So that's also been such a big blessing, is that people they want to come around foster care. They just don't know how. It's so confusing. It's so complex. And since opening our doors and since opening the nonprofit, so many wonderful community members that have a heart for foster care but don't want to be foster parents have found some kind of inroad in. And then, like, I think it's up to 8 or 10 of our volunteers that started off as volunteers are now foster parents themselves. So intentionally, we're creating this kind of onboarding process where like, get your toes wet. Okay, now get to work. We need you. Come on.
So you mean to tell me that there's a place where somebody that might be interested in foster care or even not even interested in doing it themselves can go and volunteer and, like you said, get their toes wet. How do they do that and how do they connect?
Yeah, so on our website, we just have a volunteer form, and then we take them through a background check and a training. And then if they're working with kiddos, we give them a little additional training, and then they're able to volunteer with us. So one of our biggest volunteer needs is just people that are able to deliver a welcome pack. And that is like the best thing for dipping your toes in and also seeing the real need in our city and being able to be like, oh, there's families in Concord. Oh, there's families in Setchfield. There's families really close to where I am. And so that's an easy win for people. But everything from making lasagnas and putting it in our deep freezer to providing childcare for a parent night out event, there's really lots of different ways to get involved. And I think it takes down this stigma of what people believe to be true about foster children. Like I said, everyone who comes into care has some kind of trauma, but it doesn't always act the way that we think it acts. And these kids are here because of a mistake or things that have happened to them. It's not about them. Yeah. And so anytime we can get volunteers in around our foster families, it kind of takes down the stigma of, oh, okay, yeah, I can do this. Okay, yes, we know that there's a place that's going to support us, and these kids are our city's children, so why not?
I challenge for my fellow listeners out there, it doesn't matter what city or state you're listening to this, or even international, that you kind of need to walk the walk if you're going to talk the talk. What I mean by that is you have the Christian community as a whole, and I'll throw some shade on this community that I call myself a part of, because a lot of times we love to come to our services on Sunday, get the feel-good thing about going out and living the Beatitudes, but we fail to actually dive into our local community through volunteerism. We expect our city, our state, our tax dollars to actually do the walking for us when those entities are actually failing. So I challenge our listeners, it doesn't have to be necessarily foster care. It doesn't necessarily have to be something for the elderly. But I challenge you to go out there and find what your heart is truly passionate about and pair up with an organization like this to fill that gap, because these are the people that are actually holding the system together, and putting that finger in the dike and not letting the dam break and all the water to flood down the little villagers, and the villagers cry out for help. I mean, this is honestly, you guys are doing, I know. You guys are actually doing the work.
I got it.
What's that?
I got it. Yeah.
So I challenge, and it's not just the Christian community also, people are actually passionate about volunteerism and volunteerism through action. Get out there and actually do something instead of waiting for someone else to do it. Maybe you're the one that's supposed to be doing it. So get out there and do it.
Becky, I can't tell you how much it meant to us. We went to a parents' night out, and I'm trying to not cry because I got to keep my man guard. But we didn't have a date for 3 months, and we found you guys, went to a parents' night out, and I got to have a dinner with my wife. And because of your volunteers and because of your organization, we were able to be human again for just a few moments. And I can't tell you how much that meant to us as a couple and how much it meant to me personally. You get so wrapped up in these kids and their daily struggles and court dates and, GAL meetings and DSS meetings, and you kind of almost lose sight of who you are. And especially as a couple, you forget who you guys are together and why you maybe even started this. And because of things that you guys do, allows those foster parents to reconnect. to each other, to their spirit, and give them hope to keep going. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for what you've done.
Thank you so much for that. It's so good to hear that, because that's definitely what it's for. It's for families being able to take care of themselves so that they can take care of the kids in their home. And that's really, yes. Thank you so much for saying that.
Thank you. So people want to connect, people want to volunteer, people want to donate. Where do they go and how do they do that?
Yeah, best way is just to head to our website, fostervillagecharlotte.org. And if you are in other cities, I failed to mention this earlier, but we're the first affiliates out of state for Foster Village Austin in Austin, Texas. So we actually flew to Austin and met with the executive director and asked her if she would start an affiliation model. And she gave us, a run for our money. At first she was like, no, I don't think so. And we're like, no, our city needs this. This is going to happen. And so she said yes to us. And there's a few other foster villages that are launching now in Texas. And the hope is that it can go across the United States. So, Foster Village Charlotte is us, but you can also, if you're not in North Carolina, go to Foster Village inc.org, and you can learn more about other villages around the country. And you can find our volunteer and our donation spot on there as well.
Just promise me, if you guys ever do a commercial, do not do the catchy jingle from the Villages retirement community. Do you remember that one?
No.
Oh my God. You'll have to YouTube that later.
I'll have to Google that.
Or a Sarah McLachlan video.
Yeah, do not do the Sarah McLachlan.
Oh gosh, no. Like that. No. We're about hope.
Yeah. That just makes me want to turn the channel.
Becky, again, thank you so much. I'm sure we'll cross paths soon.
Yes,
and thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Hey, thanks for tuning in once again to the Southern Fried Philosophy Podcast. You can find us on our website at southernfriedphilosophy.com. Don't forget we have playable links there. You can also find us on our Facebook page, where I love to post stupid memes. Baby Yoda's my new favorite.
I love that one.
So cute.
Did you see the mural in Noda?
No, I did not.
Someone painted Baby Yoda on a wall. Baby Yoda is in Noda.
Nah.
Just saying it.
But the meme with the Baby Yoda and the chicken Sammy, or the chick, yeah, you got to see that one. That's great. There's a Chick-fil-A Baby Yoda.
The OK Boomer one's my favorite one.
I've not seen that one either. So yeah, just check us out on the Southern Fried Philosophy Podcast on Facebook. So you can also find us on Instagram and Twitter as SFP Radio. Most importantly is go to wherever you listen to your podcast, subscribe, give us a review or a rating. We really appreciate that. Share your favorite episodes. We enjoy checking our stats and seeing the new listeners we pick up from, I guess the next city is what? G? K? K. So yeah, let's see if we can get some Ks out there. We appreciate you guys. And also, like I always say, if you're not signed up to be an organ donor, please go check out Donate Life or Carolina Share if you're in the local Carolina area. But also, if you just, these nonprofits out there like Life Share, you can register to be a donor, find out more facts about that. Producer Brian learned me something a couple weeks ago about you can actually sign up to be a donor on your phone now.
Yep, the health app on iOS.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool. So yeah, guys, check it out. Save someone's life.
Found out that Cliffy is an organ donor.
Is
Go Cliffy.
Oh, Papa Cliffy.
There you go.
There you go.
And as always, Corn Pop was a bad dude.
Tunnel, and then everybody was just beating me like this. Like, yeah.
You went through a tunnel?
Yeah. And then I woke up and they said, "You're dead."
I think
I said, "Okay."
I wish we could get you anesthetized again and actually get you to say Corn Pop was a bad dude.
Corn Pop was a bad dude.
You're listening to the SFP Radio Network.